Good morning. This is the regularly scheduled April meeting of the Fairport Municipal Commission on tax day of all days. So,
Good time.
yes, perfect timing. So, Holly, would you be kind enough to call the roll?
Commissioner Jordan?
Present.
Commissioner Stuckey? Here. Commissioner Fridge?
Here.
Commissioner Shalaba?
Here.
Chairperson Keefe?
Present. Thank you. There are no visitors in the audience this morning, and the first item is the minutes from last month's March meeting. Any comments, questions, or clarifications? Otherwise, we can move forward and approve the minutes. You have a motion?
A second.
And a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. 5-0. New business. Next year's budget, which is always a timely topic regarding our ongoing efforts. Holly, you can take the helm on that one, please? Thank you. And the commissioners do each have a copy of the proposed budget for fiscal year 24-25, which will begin in June. And you also got an electronic preliminary draft, I think, since the last meeting that you should have had an opportunity to look at in the meantime. So.
Okay. So we have the 24-25 budget presentation for the electric fund. I'll send this spreadsheet out to you guys separately. But this is slightly updated from even the proposed budget that was presented to the village. We had some additional numbers come in to give us more accurate figures. The most important, or one of the most important things that I wanted to mention before we dive into this is that we are changing our budget practice, our accounting methodology from a cash basis to an accrual basis. When we go out and buy a bucket truck, we could in theory go back and trade that in the next day. We won't do that, but there is some retaining value of that truck. So instead of expensing it immediately like we would on a cash basis, we're expensing it over the life of that truck. We do similar things as we're doing our projects for replacing poles and the like. So we're adjusting when we're taking those, expensing some of those bigger items as we are capitalizing them. So in terms of revenue, we are currently suggesting a proposed budget of $33,521,000. Two of the biggest items that we are seeing increases on are the PPAC revenues and the pass-through collections. The pass-through collections include items sales tax, investment in capital assets, and the portion of retiree health that the retirees themselves are paying. And we'll dig into the capital investments, but it relates to a few major projects that we are anticipating for the coming year. In terms of the expenses, we had some change because of that change of practice of how we are doing the methodology for accounting. There's some big variances on the expense side. 34% of our budget for the expenses is related to purchase power. Another 19% is for PPAC expenses. And so in terms of the purchase power adjustment clause, we actually had a significant increase this coming year for the budgeted purchase power adjustment. A good chunk of that was because of the transmission congestion coverage for the period of November 2023 through October 24, which was substantially larger than the previous year. And because we expensed that over the life of that coverage, it will affect next year's budget. We didn't have the numbers when we were putting together last year's budget, so that is substantially higher than the current year. The good news is that we have gotten estimates for next year, and it went down substantially. So that was one of the big changes from the proposed budget that was put into the village board. We got that number last week. So that number will start to go down effective in November 2024. We also have new regulations related to the renewable energy credits that have gone into effect as of January 1st this year. So that will continue to impact us through next year's budget. In addition, if you look, once I send this presentation out, makes a little bit more sense, but looking at just wanted to clarify that this number, the PPAC expenses have gone up substantially over the last 3 years. Specifically, if you look at the chart that I have, 22-23 has that National Grid refunds that we were getting last year. So with that factored in, we actually had a negative excess power cost, whereas moving into this year's budget and next year's budget, we are having that excess power cost added on top of the other costs, so it's going up substantially because of not receiving those refunds and having these new regulations and new costs factored in. In terms of the investment in capital assets, we did updated our 10-year capital investment plan. As part of that investment plan, we are investing into a couple major capital projects. One of them is on the AMI meter system. We're planning on going out to bid for $2.7 million to replace all of the meters in our system. They're significantly aged beyond their useful life, and so we're looking at replacing them. We're also doing some substation bank replacements, again going out to bond for $1.4 million. That's another part of the agenda for today. We also have a few other capital projects that we're going to be paying out for through cash and surplus funds that we have for about $715,000, doing some vehicle replacements for $115,000 through the NYPA loans program, and then some street lighting replacements. So in total, we're investing into our plant with this budget $4.9 million. 4.1 of that is going to be coming from the bonds to cover that cost. In the previous year, we had investment in capital assets as a separate line item that was for $1.1 million. So that increase is about $3.8 million year over year. This year, these costs are included in the pass-through revenue expense line because we're depreciating it over the course of the life of the plant items that we're going to be investing in. As you look at some of the other variances within the expense side of the budget, as I mentioned, switching over the accounting practice substantially changes some of the individual items on the expense side. For instance, inventory. A lot of the inventory that we are purchasing actually is capitalized over the life of the plant. If we're replacing a pole, if we're replacing a anchor unit, all of those things are capitalized. So what we do is we actually have an increase of 32% in terms of what we're going to be investing based on what we're looked at in the past, but we're taking out the capitalized portion. So as a result, there's a big decrease in the inventory, but it's really based on the fact that we're taking out that capitalized amount. We're seeing a similar discrepancy when it comes to the direct payroll, where we're having a 2% increase in terms of our payroll, but then we're taking out that capitalized portion, so it ends up being a decrease in payroll. It's not really a decrease in payroll, it's just the capitalized amount is now factored in because of that change in accounting practice. Similar thing with benefits, where we actually saw an increase of 14% related to a lot of the health insurance, the retirement contributions. Without the capitalized portion of the benefits, we actually only saw a 3% increase, but in line with some of the things we were seeing on the village side, we did have a substantial increase in the benefit costs for this year. So in summary, we're not factoring in any electric rate for the proposed budget. We're relying on less surplus funds than we did in the previous year. We're down about $250,000 for next year. We're currently forecasting that we will not use any of the budgeted funding from the depreciation reserve surplus funds for the current fiscal year that we had previously budgeted for. We've updated our 10-year capital plan and are planning to invest $4.9 million into our plant. We're expecting to go out to bond for $4.1 million to cover those expenses. And without the anticipated PPAC increases and the additional investments into capital assets, which is one time for next year for the capital assets, we're showing a 3.99% increase in the budget year over year. We've also aligned our accounting practices for the budget, the audit financial reports, monthly financials, and our Public Service Commission report.
Thanks, Holly. Excellent as usual. Any comments or discussion on the presentation or the budget for next year?
So I know we're starting to work on a rate case. How does that affect budget if that starts kind of mid-year?
So we did not include the rate case in the budget. Obviously, we're just starting that process. We've not submitted yet to the Public Service Commission, and not knowing where that'll end up. But what they will look at, typical with any budget, is your bonding. They will look at your as you have to borrow in your depreciation reserve to try to balance those. So that gets taken into account with the rate case. We do expect a successful rate case, but even if we submit now, we are about a year away. So it's probably early spring of 25 before. And then remember, we only see 1/12 of that. It takes another year to receive that revenue. So most likely the majority of any rate case we do this coming fiscal year won't have an effect until the next fiscal year, the 25-26.
Yeah, at this stage.
Thanks, Matt.
So a couple questions. Let's just looking at the budget book provided. On personnel, just I'm looking at page 97 of 200, where the proposed budget for this coming fiscal year was minus 7%. Are we at staffing right now? Is this based on new hires? What is that reduction?
So that reduction is talking about the capitalized portion
Just
that is
the
taking out.
reconfiguration. Okay.
It's actually an increase of about 2 or 3% if you compare year over year without taking in that capitalized amount. And I'll let Matt speak to the rest.
Yeah. I mean, staffing-wise, we're actually right. We are at the correct number. We did lose a lineman last month, but we're up one, knowing that I had some retirees coming. So we will replace that lineman here down the road. But right now we're actually where we're supposed to be, so we're at 100%. But what you're seeing in that summary is exactly what Holly talked about, the difference from going from the cash to an accrual basis and trying to match the Public Service Commission annual report, the AUDs, the audited statements, just so they all match, so we can apply that to the rate case. So you're seeing some of these anomalies.
Is that the same reason why taxes show minus 30% there?
Taxes show minus 30% because we took the sales tax and moved it from being part of the taxes line to down to the pass-through collections because it is due to the state from any money that we collect, we have to give over to the state, so it's just a pass-through, whereas it previously was included in the taxes.
Gotcha. Just final question on that page. Do we still owe money on the operations center, or are we getting close to paying that off?
We are getting close. We still have debt payments on the Hogan substation, Lawler substation, and the operations center. If you remember, we did consolidate them all into one. We're getting close.
Okay, thank you.
I have, just on page 96, we have a couple vacancies listed in that page that I believe have been fulfilled. So if we wanted to update that, that would be great.
We did update it before it actually went out online, but when it went to the printer, yes. I do apologize, Commissioner Jordan, along with Holly, that we didn't catch those.
Well, we'll pencil those in then, Matt, if it's okay with you.
The one that's online is
Yeah.
corrected.
I know, thank you. Bill, Jeremy, any,
No questions at this time.
no? Okay. So I guess that leads us logically to the commission acting upon adopting the proposed budget.
So moved.
Have a motion? Second. Have a second? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None being, so 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
And, yeah, thanks, everybody, for the hard work. I know this is just, it's not quite on the rate case level, but, you know, it's always a yeoman's effort to get these things packaged up and ready to go.
Yeah, this was a huge year. I mean, Holly is, you know, I've basically been here a year, and one of the first things we said is the budget, the way we had been budgeting, we're gonna throw out, we're gonna go completely different. So
Yeah.
She started from scratch and did an
Yeah.
amazing job. I mean, kudos to Holly for
No, it
really,
is, especially
really
when-
doing this
Yeah,
correctly.
when we're doing changing the accounting a little bit as well.
Correct.
Yes, thank you, Al.
Actually, Holly, just one quick question, just follow up with respect to the bond for the capital. Do we know what the interest rates are now? Are they,
We don't know yet. What we're most likely gonna do is we will do a bond anticipation note. And then what we do is because the village takes the bond, not the commission, they will wait till the streetscape comes out. So we're probably looking to actually go out for bond either very late fourth quarter of this calendar year or very early first quarter 2025. So, you know, we're hoping that the interest rates go down a little bit, but we have not locked in yet. We're probably, you know, 9-10 months away from being into that. And what we most likely would do is that bond anticipation note, and as a village finalizes their project, they get grouped together for a bond.
great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I think we can move on to the next topic on the agenda, which is the Hogan Road Rehab Project. Lauren, you're gonna be
Yes,
very good, thank you.
good morning. So as Holly mentioned, we're gonna be going out for a band and then a bond for both the substation project and the smart meter project. So as a part of that, the bonding process that requires a seeker review, which is a state environmental quality review through DEC. The first project that is going through this project process is the Hogan Substation Rehabilitation Project. Just a quick summary on that project. If you don't know already, we're going to be refurbishing banks 3 and 4 to extend the life, hopefully 20 or more years. They've tested good. So at this point, we are going to be replacing the electrical or mechanical relays with digital relays, and replacing some other equipment to extend the life of Hogan Substation. We'll also be adding a new a small building, 400 square feet, next to the metal clad that's there in the back of the substation. So that'll house the batteries and the SCADA RTU and HVAC units. So as a part of the seeker review, basically we're gonna go in, we've consulted with our village planner, Jill Weidrich, and we're gonna go in as a type 2. And basically has 3 points. There's no substantial changes in the existing structure, which is basically we'll be keeping everything inside the fence for this rehab project. So that satisfies number 1. Number 2, basically replacing or reconstructing the structure in kind on the same site. And then the third item is the construction or expansion of a non-residential structure involving less than 4,000 square feet of gross floor area, not including radio communication or microwave transmission facilities, so that satisfies, this project will satisfy that item as well. So these actions will determine that we do not have a significant impact on the environment or otherwise precluded from environmental review under environmental conservation law. So that's the first item. So we'd be asking for a motion on that, unless anybody has any questions.
Yeah, any discussion, do we want to have on this topic before we vote on, accepting the seeker determination?
So does this mean that we're exempted from doing the review based on these 3 points, or we think the review will, there wouldn't be an issue with the approval of the seeker because of we're within compliance of these 3 goals?
Because we are in compliance with those 3 things, it actually, seeker stops, because it's a type 2 action.
Okay, thank you.
And like you said, when we're talking existing structure or facility, that's the perimeter of the
Yeah,
substation as opposed to like the building, because I know we're adding.
Yeah,
400
it's
square
all
feet.
within the perimeter, the fenced-in substation area, so it'll be a small outbuilding behind that.
So that doesn't count as an expansion because it's still contained.
Correct.
Okay.
Anything else, other commissioners? Then can we entertain a motion?
Move to
So
approve.
moved. Second? Then?
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Being none, 5-0. Thank you. Thanks, Lauren. Great
You're
job as usual. And next topic is the smart meters.
This one, requesting the same motion here on a different project. This is the replacement of all of our approximately 18,000 meters. Our Itron system that we're currently using is, we're gonna be retiring that as we're gonna lose support and the equipment warranties are ending. So that 2.7 million is for the new smart meters. We'll be extending our fiber network in order for the data to get back to the software platform in our operations center, so we can see real time, do final reads right from the office, and once the smart meters are in, people can see real time what they're, how they're using their energy. This will be a Landis and Gear network and smart meters. And then basically at this point, the conditions of the seeker classification of type 2 are satisfied. We're not making any substantial changes to existing structure, facility. The second one is satisfied the replacement, reconstruction of the structure, facility, which is just really just extending our fiber along the utility poles that we have existing already. So those three requirements under the type 2 are satisfied for this one as well.
Okay.
Couple questions on the project. When are we looking to start this?
We'll actually issue the purchase orders on or about June 1. We'd actually start fall of 2024, and we hope to be complete by the end of this coming fiscal year, so end of May 2025. We'd replace all 18,000 meters.
Okay, so we're talking everybody's meter, like on the side of their house, et cetera.
Yeah, and it is literally just that. I mean, we're gonna walk up to your home, we're gonna knock on the door, tell you you're gonna be off for a couple minutes, but we remove your old meter and put a new meter in.
So they about the same size, Matt?
Same
or-
size. In
Okay.
reality, if someone was not home, they wouldn't even know we were there. The meter looks the same, so there's no change.
So their ability to track their own energy usage, how do they do that, or how would they do that?
So there's a lot of different, I mean, some of the keys, I mean, the first and foremost is that the reads will come in all the time. So we no longer have to estimate reads, we no longer have to go out and read the meters. We'll be able to literally, see all of our customers, what they're using at, in real time. It also gives us some outage management. We'll be able to see when we have outages, we can build some AI into that. And then, the line crews will actually see that this street is out, what is the next upstream device, so it'll make us more efficient as we respond to the outages. There will actually be, we have an app right now through our billing portal that'll be very similar to the customers. Once we roll this out, they'll be given the option. If there'll be people that are interested and there are ones that are not. If they're interested, basically it's an app on their phone, or an app on their computer that they'll be able to go and see the usage.
Is there anybody locally that has any other utilities near us that have this?
Avon Grid's been installing this for about a year, so I know the Jefferson Ave area on the west side already has these meters. I think last I saw RG&E was like maybe 30% of their system had already been changed over.
Okay. I mean, I think this is it's pretty cool, it's a big deal. It'd be something to think about is how do we communicate that to our ratepayers and highlight it.
We will do that once we roll it out.
Yeah.
Once we get into June and we actually, issue the purchase order, then we'll start that, social media blitz and customers, relations, yeah. We'll surely talk to everybody and, we'll have to do some meetings about it anyways. So,
Cool, thanks.
you're welcome.
Matt, I remember this being talking about this as like a two-part project. Is like, you need to install it on the poles and then replace the meters? Is this everything, or is this like phase 1?
No, so phase 1, actually, we're completing this fiscal year. By this May, we're actually starting to mount the antennas and do some of the fiber work, the network side of it, no meter side.
Okay.
But then what we'll do is actually the meters will start, which was the second part.
Gotcha.
Because of the delivery on some of the antennas and things, some of the stuff we had hoped to accomplish this fiscal year does roll over into next year.
Okay.
So that was the two part of it.
Gotcha, thank you.
You're welcome.
And then the software platform that this uses, does that come with it? Is that an extra software we're purchasing?
There is an additional software we're purchasing, on the dashboard that the customer service reps will use. So, we have many apartments in our franchise, as you know. And what'll happen now is someone calls and says we're moving out of our apartment. That customer service rep will use this new software platform to say, here's your address, here's your read, and literally be able to do it then while they're on the phone. A lot of times we get these via email and other electronic ways. So it streamlines that whole process, and some of it actually is automated. As people do it online, they'll be actually able to finalize their bill. If they want to do it at 11 o'clock at night, they'll be able to do this after hours on their own time. So moving to the future.
So what is the planned obsolescence date? Do we know that for the old system? is there gonna be overlap between the two systems?
Yeah. So I mean, the software is just no longer supported at the calendar end of 2024. It's still functional, still
Okay.
works. It just means that, they're not gonna support it when things, if a device stops working or something.
Okay,
So yes, there'll be some overlap.
okay. And does the cost of the project include like supportability of the new platform and software that we're purchasing? Or is it,
Yes.
is there an expectation like that we're experts?
So, no, we've built into our IT budget this software platform for the annual costs each year. So, as you saw the IT budgets rise, that was one of the things that, made the budget go up, was, we built this into it. In reality, it's about the same. Other than the overlap, when we're gonna pay to both companies, the price is gonna go from one to the other. It's very simple.
Okay, cool, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments, discussion? And if there is none, can we have a motion to accept the seeker report? You have a motion?
Second?
You have a second? In favor? Aye. Any opposed? 5-0. Thank you. Yeah, Bill, sorry, Matt. So we have an upcoming joint meeting in May down in Syracuse.
So this will be the NIMPA annual, along with the MEUA semi-annual. As you remember, Brian is president right now of the MEUA organization. He'll be president until the fall when they do their annual. But so this one on May 21st and 22nd. It's usually about a half a day for the NIMPA meeting and a little over a day for the MEUA meeting. But they do combine them together now, which I think helps. If you're going to go down Syracuse for a couple days, you kind of get everyone in one room at the same time. So it'll be the NIMPA annual and the MEUA semi-annual. We did include the agendas in the packet. If you're interested in going, we need to get the registrations in. So just if you'll let us know, we can always cancel them. If you'd like a room, just let us know if you'd like the hotel room overnight. And but we would like to get registration completed sooner than later if we could.
Thanks, Matt. Once I have a chance to look at the agendas, I'll probably let you know.
Thank you.
Is there,
And
what is, I don't see the agenda, I guess.
Did not include it, okay. I'll make sure we get it out to you.
Okay.
yeah, thanks.
I mean, it is a,
I know they were
Rough.
finalizing some parts.
Right.
Yeah, this is all right in, this is not golf or anything else. That's a fall one. Yeah, this is just meetings inside. This
Right.
is a lot of information thrown at you in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, but it's all good.
It's all good. It's
Yeah,
great
it
information.
is.
It's things that, especially with the rising costs that we're facing, the mandates and things. There's a lot that happens at these meetings.
Yeah.
A lot of sharing of good information.
Yeah, I always find there's a lot of stuff that's sort of like under the radar normally that you pick up and you hear from the presentations and, what the folks have to say down there. So it's always good.
And I know Brian, and I think Mary Beth are doing a presentation
Okay.
on our software platform for the members also.
Right, thanks. And that leads us to the delegates that we will have to formally approve for each association.
Yeah, we do this annually. Instead of doing this, as they have 2, 3, 4 meetings a year, instead of doing this every single time, we just do an annual proxy for the delegates. How it works on the NIMPA side, I'm the primary delegate, as I sit on the board. Brian would be my second if for some reason I would not be there, and then we switch on the MEUA side. Brian's the primary, I'm the second. So it does need a motion and resolution for both those.
Okay. Take them individually, I take it, Matt?
If we could, please.
Yeah, very good. Any motions?
so moved on the MEUA.
Second?
And we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. 5-0. And now we move on to the NIPA.
Very, very similar, just
Yep.
appointing me as the primary and then
Yep.
Brian as the secondary.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Who was
Any
the second?
opposed?
I'm sorry.
Bill.
Bill. Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah,
Don't-
Stephen,
don't
Stephen
talk in
Bill.
quiet this morning.
Stephen, yeah. I think Bill's still in the weekend mode. So, thank you, everyone. Yes, the most exciting news on the docket today is our new logo.
So this is one of those things that we have talked about for an awful long time. And, this is the fun part of my job. I get to delegate this to other people. So about a year ago, I went to Lauren and Andy and said, I think we need a new logo. Yeah, I said, the vehicles need something refreshing and we need to do something. So they've worked awfully hard for this. They worked with basically a graphic designer and artist, and they came back with a lot of different options and things, and they did an amazing job. And they were able to incorporate, the canal boat. They were able to incorporate the bridge, give some color to the truck. So the trucks are all, at this point have been switched over. We're slowly switching over our letterhead and their signature. But this is 100% on Lauren and Andy. They did a tremendous job, and they spent a lot of time and listened to people, and I appreciate all their efforts for this.
Absolutely. I actually thought I saw it on one of the vehicles already.
They're all stickered up. They're probably
Yeah.
a year ago or a week ago or so we started.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, caused me to have whiplash. I had to double check, what vehicle it was,
Yeah.
whether it was ours or somebody else's, so.
Need some new shirts.
we will get some new shirts with it also.
Okay. Thanks, Lauren.
You're welcome.
Nice job. Next is our regular monthly meeting date was always the second Monday, and then a few years back, we bumped it to the third Monday for a variety of reasons, but I believe there's discussions of entertaining back to the second Monday.
So one of the main reasons we moved it was to assist the accounting department to make sure that all the reports were done. As with the changes Holly has done, looking at the financial report this way, she's able to get this done. She actually had it done about a week ago from
Yeah.
this. And I was harassing her saying, you had this done so quickly. And she was, it's easier now, and it's just the way things flow. But one of the issues we have now is these timing issues. That,
Right.
the village board meets on the second Monday, we meet a week later, and at times there's things that we approve then needs to go to the village boards. We're actually
Yeah.
waiting a month.
Yeah.
So I would like to, if it's agreeable with everybody, that we move our commission meetings back to the second Monday of every month. Same time. I think that would streamline and help some timing and things.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Holly, all things considered, you're okay with all of this?
Yes, with the shift that we did in November to shift everything and do the one-page summary
Yeah.
for the current month, we have plenty of time now for that.
Okay. Yeah, like you said, Matt, from a timing perspective, it makes a lot of sense to go back to the second Monday. So, if everyone, any discussion to revert back to the old way?
No issues here?
It's fine.
Everybody, sounds like we can do that unanimously, Matt.
Thank you.
So when do you wanna start that?
We would do that
May?
starting in May, if you'd
May?
like.
Everybody good with that? Check your calendars, just like when we have holidays come up.
Is that the 13th?
13th.
It would be the 13th, correct?
Yeah, be Monday the 13th, and we'll keep our start time the same. So, if we're all good, let's do it. So, next month's meeting will be on the 13th. Okay. Financial reports.
We are presenting the February final financial statements as well as the March cash one-page summary. We have very good news for the month of February. We are collecting the revenues associated with January and paying a substantially lower expense related to February. So for the month of February, we had about a $650,000 profit for the month. We also saw on the March's cash flow that we have reached the bottom up for our cash flow for the year, and we're starting to come back up. We had about a $150,000 increase in cash for March, and we will continue to see that increase as we go through the spring. In terms of large expenses related to February, we had purchases of about $2 million in electricity purchases. We also had about $150,000 in depreciation expense. On the revenue side, we collected about $2.3 million in electric revenue and an additional $1 million in PPAC revenue. We did have the West Her trucks come in that you guys processed off meeting in March, so we will see those expensed out in the March report. So they were still outstanding as of February. For the year, we are still having a loss of about $350,000, but we are anticipating that to decrease as we move through the spring.
Thanks, Al. Any discussion, questions for Holly? Maybe we have a motion if everyone's satisfied.
Move to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? There being none. And next topic is payment of our vouchers for goods, services, and whatnot.
Make a motion.
We have a motion. Thanks for speaking up, Bill.
Second.
Gotta raise my voice.
We have a second?
Second, yes.
Second, thanks, Jeremy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There being none? 5-0. And we will correct that Monday, May 20th to the 13th is our next meeting. If that's okay with everybody. And any topics the commissioners wish to toss out for discussion before we adjourn? None?
I'll just say, Matt and Lauren, if you guys could extend my gratitude to the customer service folks. You had passed along, an email. It seemed like a difficult exchange. Seemed like it was handled professionally. All within accountable. All the details were there, and so great job by the team.
Thank you. I'll make sure they hear that. And we're very lucky with this, all of our staff. I mean, they're just amazing people, and the pride and what they bring to this organization every day. So I'll make sure they hear that.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks,
Second
Jim.
that.
Anything else? If not, can we entertain a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
A motion
A second?
and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. Have a great Monday. If you can.
We'll see.